Hi everybody, this is Brooke Troutman and I'm your librarian for social work. Today I'm going to walk you through everything that you need to know to do library research utilizing UTA libraries, databases, and resources. So I'm going to start out on the library website, which if you are not a new student this semester, you'll notice is a little different. So that's why I'm recording this video to have an updated version of how to navigate the website and the resources on it. This will specifically pertain to the 3308 research course for social work, but this tutorial could be used in general for doing library research for social work and your social work assignments. So let's get started. So I have us on the main homepage of the library website. The first thing that you are going to want to do specifically to take a look at a lot of what we have to offer for social work students in particular, so things that I have created or deemed useful for social work students, is to check out all of my library research guides. So in order to do that, you're going to want to hover over the little research tab and it will bring up a list of choices. So all of our guides are down here in subject and course guides. These are our top 3 guides, but if you just click on more guides, it'll take you to our main guides page. All of our librarians create guides for their different disciplines, for different topics and subjects and courses. The easiest way to find all of the social work guides, you could either type social work in here, but really to find all of the guides the most easily is just to click on by owner. You'll see a list of all of the librarians here in the library. And if you scroll down to my name, Brooke Troutman, and I'm the only librarian for social work, just click on my name and it'll bring up a comprehensive list of all of my research guides. Now you will see a few for sociology and anthropology and maybe a few for faculty, but a majority of these guides are geared towards the social work student and researcher. So you will see the first half are topic guides. I might show you this crash course in lit reviews guide today, probably the second part of the video, since for the research course you will be doing a literature review and some of you might not be familiar with that. But if you scroll down, you notice that the bottom half of the list have course numbers at the beginning. So these are all course guides that I've created for classrooms that I've been in or online courses, such as perhaps this one that you're seeing this video in, that I've created a guide for. So you'll find your course number 3308, 5308, Social Work Research Methods, and you can click on that, and it'll bring up the guide that I created for this course. So on the very first tab, the Home tab, you'll just have a little introductory statement, then a brief overview about different methods. All you need to do to navigate this tab is, or navigate this site, is tab through these different tabs. And you can see all the different resources that I've put in here for your guys' class and to be able to do library research specifically pertaining to the research course and the literature review and the assignment. So I'm going to be going through these tabs one by one with you. I've done this for a variety of reasons. One, so that I don't have to recreate every semester for each course, but also so instead of just coming into the classroom or recording a quick video, just using the library databases and things like that, that you guys, the students, have a place to come back to go over what I went over with you, to be able to look at different things, be able to bring up different PDFs of different exercises that I have put in here to help you, little tutorial videos, which I will show some of them on this video today. And you can go back through that and use this as a resource while you're out there doing your research on your own. And then it has links to how you can get in touch with me. And please feel free to do so if you need additional assistance, would like to schedule a one-on-one appointment or a virtual appointment with me. I don't have set office hours. I just try to schedule accordingly and do the best that I can to see every single student that reaches out to me. So let's kind of get started on this guide. So the first thing you have here on the Getting Started page is a couple of tutorials, and I'm going to play this literature review one. The first one here on the left-hand side is developing a research question using mind mapping. And if you click on this PDF here, so you'll see a concept map, And so this is if you haven't quite decided what you would like to do your research assignment on. So what kind of, when you're still brainstorming topics. So, and narrowing down to make a good solid research question. So many students find this useful that they can put their idea, their topic, their social problem or their issue right here in this box, and then think critically, kind of conceptualize some different sub themes or subtopics around your main topic or things that are related to kind of help you develop a research question around something that you're interested in, something you're passionate about, but you're not really sure how to formulate it into a research question. So you can print this out. It's a PDF and you can fill it out as many times as you like. So over here on the right, I'm going to show this quick video really briefly. But before I do that, I want to show you these links here. So this is a great handout that I advise you to take a look at. It's another PDF that you can print for yourself. Breaking down the literature review process kind of step by step. This can be really helpful if you've never conducted a literature review before or done a literature review before, and even has a really great infographic as well. So I advise taking a look at that. And for students that really have never done a literature review before, I find it really helpful, and I did this a couple semesters ago per request, is I put up a couple of examples of literature reviews. So these are literally examples from my former institution where I used to work at the University of West Florida, and these are up on their website helping a lot of their students with examples of literature reviews. So you just scroll through this paper. So this paper is written in APA style, and you'll be able to scroll through and find the review of literature and see the way that they've synthesized their items. They've synthesized their articles that they have reviewed and written up this review of literature for. So this one and the other one are the same. I think this one is on cyberbullying, and I'm not sure what the other one is on. But these are two really great examples for you to take a look at so you can kind of get an idea of how to synthesize the information, because this literature review is not a annotated bibliography. And this little quick video that I'm going to show will highlight that. So let's take a quick look.
So you get to write a literature review. Great! What the heck does that mean? Literature in this context has nothing to do with fiction. In an academic context, the word literature can collectively refer to the existing research on a particular subject. As in, what does the literature say about the mating habits of fruit flies? The word review, thankfully, means what it sounds like, to examine and evaluate. With those definitions in mind, a literature review, or lit review if you're in a rush, is a critical evaluation of the research on a particular topic. That definition's kind of crucial, so I'll say it again. A lit review is a critical evaluation of the research on a particular topic. You may have had to evaluate sources before in an annotated bibliography, but those are lists of citations that describe and evaluate each of your sources individually. Lit reviews are different. For one thing, lit reviews never take the form of a list. Not ever. Instead, a lit review should be a synthesized analysis of sources. So, synthesis. Don't worry, that's just a fancy word for pulling different things together and making sense out of them as a whole. Here's the difference between a list and a synthesis. This is a list, a bunch of raw materials. And this is synthesis, the combination of raw materials for a specific purpose. But here's the crazy part. I could have made something else using those same ingredients. Like this, or this. Snickerdoodles. Lit reviews work the same way. Instead of eggs and flour, your raw materials are books and articles. Instead of breakfast, you get a synthesized analysis. Now here's the tricky part. In baking, the recipe determines the ratio of ingredients and how they're handled. In a lit review, it's your perspective that does this. For example, you could look at your sources from a chronological perspective and produce a lit review that explains how the research has changed over a period of time. Or you could take a thematic perspective and explain how a particular aspect of the research has been treated. A perspective can be pretty much anything you decide to focus on. Most of the time, though, lit reviews are written to identify and describe gaps in the research, places where an enterprising scholar could do some useful work. Perspective guides what lit reviews focus on, but lit reviews are written for a bunch of different reasons and come in a variety of sizes. These things can be book chapters, standalone articles, or an introductory section of an article that shares the results of an empirical study. No matter how long or short they are, though, they are always cohesive pieces of writing containing a synthesized analysis. Lit reviews serve a valuable purpose. You might have heard a variation of a statement made famous by Isaac Newton. If I've seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. In a nutshell, this explains human progress. It's why you don't carry around a live coal in a little box to help you start the nightly fire that'll keep you from freezing to death as you hike across the tundra in pursuit of woolly mammoth. People record their progress so other people don't have to solve the same problems again and again. It's a lot easier to put a robot on Mars when someone else has already figured out that whole what is gravity and how does it work thing. Today, there are more books and articles being produced than ever before. That means it takes more work than ever before to understand the literature in any given field, which you have to do if you want to contribute. Hence, lit reviews.
All right, so that's a really short breakdown
So
of,
you get to write a literature
oh,
review.
excuse me, from doing a literature review. So if you have any further questions on that, please feel free to reach out to me. And I think once I'm done showing you guys the databases, I think I might jump over to my specific guide all about doing literature reviews. It's called the Crash Course in Literature Reviews. But I'm going to move on just for the moment. So let's talk about searching techniques. So you may or may not be somewhat familiar with searching the library databases. You may or may not be somewhat familiar with what I call the logic of searching, which is using Boolean operators, using brackets, and using keywords and synonyms. Um, but you can always use a refresher. So the first thing you want to do, and you have your research question, is learn how to take your research question and select your keywords, and then select your synonyms to those keywords or like words. So I have a small little video that's very similar to the other one, obviously done by the same people, about selecting using keywords, which is really, really informative. I'm not going to play this one because I would rather actually go through it with you in person, kind of. I'm going to bring up a Word document and we're going to use a mock question that I usually use in my face-to-face classes. But if you are stuck when you're out there researching with your own um, research question, it might be helpful to go back and play this little tutorial video, and it will do exactly what we're going to do here on this video today. Or you could just go back and watch this video. So before I do that, I do want to go over the logic of searching, which is Boolean operators. So it's going to be in between your keywords that you use these three little words, and, or, and not. And Boolean operators serve some pretty important functions when it comes to using the library databases and using your keywords and synonyms. So the little word and is very powerful. It actually narrows down your search. It keeps it within the scope of what you're trying to research, your topic. If your keywords have not rendered you very many results and you have the and in between your keywords, but you want to broaden out your search but still keep it in the scope of what you're trying to do, you want to add in the little word or and then use your synonyms after that. And I'm going to demonstrate this later. And then if you know for sure you want to keep something out of your search, or you are searching and you keep coming up with results about something that really doesn't pertain to your topic at all, you can add in a little word not and you can eliminate that from your search. Um, I have a short video here that I won't play on this video, but I encourage you guys to take a look at it when you're on this guide on your own and play it. It's about 2 minutes long and it is a very elementary overview of how to use and, or, and not. These last two boxes here are citation searching and then limiters. Citation searching, if you do watch the video above here, this one, he does talk about citation searching, and that is when you find one good article. Say you can't find any other articles, but you found one and you know it's really good. You can flip all the way to the end of that article and check the references that the author of that article used, and you'll probably find more options or get some other keywords that you might not have thought before or synonyms. And then this last box is different limiters that you can use once you're in a database and you're not sure how to limit your results. So you get a ton of different limiters and also some ones that are really important, like the first two here, which are peer-reviewed or scholarly and publication date. And when I jump into the databases and do a demo, I'll show you guys what I mean. And they're the two most important limiters that you'll need to know. So I'm going to bring up this Word document. And so this is a research question that I pose to my classes when I go in and speak to them face to face about doing library research. So the question is what role do social workers play in teen pregnancy intervention? So this is a pretty basic question, but it's really easy to be able to pull out the keywords and then work together to find some synonyms. So, so the first keywords that you're going to want to pick out are social workers. The second keyword or phrase is teen pregnancy. And then last but not least is intervention. So let's scroll down a little bit and we'll type those in and then we'll brainstorm some synonyms. So for social workers, some synonyms that might come to mind right away, or may not. Um, but you can always kind of look in the databases for them, or don't be afraid to use a thesaurus, or maybe once you start researching, some of these other ones pop up you didn't think of them before. Either way, but it's always good to arm yourself with keywords and synonyms before you jump into the databases. So for social workers, you could use the term social work or social services. Also, sometimes you could use case workers, and some other things might pop up. Now, say you use the word social workers and your other keywords and you don't get a lot of results. This is where you would type in the little word or right in between all of these words. And you would use that in tandem with a little word and it would broaden your search, but with also keeping it within the scope of what you're trying to do. Again, I'll demo that in a few minutes. So let's do our second keyword. So that would be teen pregnancy. So one of the very obvious ones for teen pregnancy usually is missed, but a lot of authors might not just use the abbreviated word teen and use the word teenage or teenager. So that is our first one. And then I'll even type in the little words or. Let's do teenager. And we'll do or again. And then some other ones that I find that students struggle with a little bit is to try to come up with other ones. Most of the time, pregnancy is going to stay. So it's actually just changing the terminology for teen. So if you kind of think about it for a little bit, there's other words that are very commonly used in place of for that. What is a teenager between 13 and 19 years old? So let's think about what about juvenile? Or adolescent? Or youth. And you might find you come up with some other synonyms on your own. But this should help you get started. And then last but not least, intervention. So some great ones for this one. This can usually be tricky when I do this face to face. This can be a little bit tricky. So there's quite a few actually, and there's probably more than I'm even going to name here. But the ones I've come up with are strategies, programs. Actually, I'll do or best practices, or treatment, or therapy. And I'm sure we could keep going. But for right now, this is what we've come up with. So again, what role do social workers play in teen pregnancy intervention is my pretend research question. And so these are the three keywords: social workers, teen pregnancy, and intervention that I pull out of the research question. And then these are the different synonyms for all three of those keywords. Let's use this and we'll move on and we'll find some sources. So we'll go over to the next tab And I will briefly go over that I do have how to use Google Scholar. And so I usually say use this after you've exhausted your other options that what I'll go over with you. But I have these instructions on here because they can be quite useful. And then down here under that, I do have a basic search plan. So if you are very new to library research, this might really help you stay on track with what you're trying to do. It's a step-by-step process for a search plan. So the very first one is writing down your topic or issue. What is the purpose of this search? So, or just your full-on research question. And then this think conceptually is just what we just did. Picking the major keywords and synonyms, the related words out of your research question, and then utilizing them in the databases with your Boolean operators. So this can be really, really helpful and handy to use. So I recommend printing them out as many times as you want and utilizing that while you're searching. So then over here, I have a list of the most important databases that I think a social work researcher should know here at UTA. And then I have some additional databases down here. But the ones that we're really going to focus on today are here. And I'm going to go over these really quickly before we jump into the databases. So the number one database that I'd really like for you guys to always utilize first before you browse other things is Academic Search Complete. It's a multidisciplinary database, and what's great about it is that you can search multiple databases at the same time. And I'm going to demo that in 2 seconds. But some of the databases that are most important that you utilize when you're searching within this database, the first one is Social Work Abstracts, simply because that is the standard database that we have here at UTA libraries in your field. But then what is more important is what I have listed here is the big three, and sometimes the big four, which the fourth one is Medline. But more often than not, it's these big three. And I call them the big three because they are kind of broader topics that kind of will cover a majority of the interdisciplinary topics within social work, but also they are very large databases, and you will be able to have multifaceted search functions if you utilize at least one of these databases in your search. The first one here is CINAHL Complete. It's a nursing and allied health database. The second one is PsycInfo, and it's a psychology database. And the third one is ERIC, just like the guy's name, and it is an educational database. And I will show you these when we are choosing our databases. But these are, and also I call them the big three, I guess I should say, is because they have all caps in them. So it can be really, really easy for you to remember if I kind of play it that way. So those are definitely something to remember, and these are just additional, but these are not the end all be all of all the social work databases. I'm going to go into the databases on the library from the homepage and show you just how many we have from social work. So let's do that really fast. So if we go under research and then we go under databases, which is just up from where we found the guide, we'll click on databases A to Z. And then the third one down is Academic Search Complete. But if you wanted to look by subject and look at all the social work databases that we have, which I suggest there's 87 listed, click on social work and this will take you there. So I have some other best bets of standalone individual databases up here as well. Then you will see I do have Academic Search Complete, but I recommend taking a look through this list because there is a lot of great databases that, besides the ones that I will highlight today. The ones I highlight today are going to be your best bets in searching for especially this course. So let's go to Academic Search Complete, and that would be listed under the A's or listed alphabetically there under the social work heading. So this is what you'll see once you click on that. And the first thing that you're going to want to do is click on Choose Databases, because like I said, we're going to search multiple databases at the same time, except we're not going to search every single database because we have about 450 databases here at UTA Libraries. But we are going to search ones that are most pertinent to what we are trying to do and that I feel really help social work research. So we're going to click on Choose Databases, and then you will get this great screen right in the middle. So I would familiarize yourself, kind of read through these at first because there's quite a lot, but these are all the ones that we can search. So we could click on all of these and search all of them at the same time, but that probably wouldn't get us anywhere and we'd be a little overwhelmed. So we're going to click ones strategically that would help us with our search. If you're not sure what one is, after maybe you've picked the big three that I just talked about a second ago, all you need to do is hover over this little box and a little pop-up will come up and it'll tell you exactly what kind of database it is, what subjects it covers, how it's indexed, things of that nature, so you can become more familiar with it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pick those big three. Now, if you have been in a class and seen me speak about library research and this method before this semester, you'll know that the psych info used to be over here under P, and it has moved, and it's now under A's because it's the American Psychological Association, so it's over here under A's. So that can be a little confusing if you have done this before. So just make note that it has moved under APA Psych Info instead of just being under Psych Info directly over here. And then we have our CINAHL Complete, which is our nursing and allied health database. And then down here we have ERIC, which is our education database. And I'm going to click all three because all three of these can contain stuff on our topic that we're doing about teen pregnancy intervention. There can be mental health issues. We can talk about the education system dealing with teen pregnancy. We can talk about the public health and the nursing perspective of it and that way of looking at it. So there can be all kinds of reasons for choosing those databases. And we're going to get those multifaceted search functions and it give us better flexibility in our searching. So then we're going to go and do social work abstracts because that's a standard in our field. And then we're going to pick one or two more that probably pertain really easily to our topic. So teen pregnancy intervention and social workers' roles. So my other go-to when it has to do with anything with family, child welfare, education, things of that nature, I always click anything that has to do with family. I click on the family studies abstract. It's always a great resource. And then I'm probably going to click on some of the other psychology databases. So there's psychology and behavioral sciences collection, which can also be really, really great. I'm also going to click on Medline. And this is what, when I say big four, is the fourth one. I only click on it if it's a healthcare or like public health type related topic that you're researching. Otherwise, you can get a lot of medical jargon. But because teen pregnancy is a healthcare and public health type of topic, I find that I usually do well when I click on that one. Um, Another one that can be really great for things of this nature is Anthropology Plus, since anthropology is the study of humans and human culture. So a lot of times we'll click on that one as well. Now there's some other really great ones here, but you don't want to click too many at one time. You can always go back and add more or take some away. So once you've clicked and check the boxes for all the ones that you want to search, and always leave academic search complete clicked, just check OK, and you're ready to go. So all we need to do here is enter in our first keywords and always start with your main keywords. Don't add in your synonyms right away. It's always great to get a baseline of where your actual just your keywords get you. So let's do that now. So social workers, and you see how here social workers or social services or social work. So it's already given you some of your synonyms. So if you weren't able to come up with anything when you were writing down your keywords out of your research question before you went in the databases, the EBSCO host brand database is really good about kind of helping you trigger that kind of critical thinking to figure out what would be the synonyms. Because sometimes it's just hard to think of. But let's start with just social workers for now. And then we'll put teen pregnancy. And then we'll do intervention. And it's doing the same thing here. See, we get a lot of them. And we'll go over that in a minute. All right, then you're ready to click search. All right, so we get about 80 results. But we have to do two things first before we do anything else. We are going to click on scholarly peer-reviewed journals so that we make sure that we are looking at only scholarly peer-reviewed publications, and that takes us down to 30. So that's taking quite a few away. And then we also have to have relevant articles. So this is 1985. I'm sure things have changed since the 80s. Sometimes you'll get stuff that goes way back to like even the 1930s, and definitely things have changed since then. So you want to be relevant. So the rule of thumb for social sciences, unless otherwise instructed by your teacher, is the past 10 years. So we are going to want to do 2010 to 2020. You can either erase here and type in 2020, or you can use this little slide bar. Oh, and that, that changed it for me. So let's type in, actually 2010, my apologies. And we'll try to get it to do to 2020. There we go. Now we have 15. And you see, if you're always looking at under this current search box, so it'll have your Boolean phrase, which is your keywords with the words and in between them. And then the two limiters that we currently have going, which is the scholarly peer reviewed, which is always a must, and the publication date, which is always a must as well, unless I said unless otherwise directed by your instructor. So if you change anything, if you manipulate this search box or do anything else, these are the only two limiters that will stay permanently. If you have any of these other limiters down here on, they will go away if you change something. So 15 items is pretty good. You can go through all through 15, but you may only find a couple of articles that are actually going to be useful for what you're trying to do. In that case, that's when you're going to want to go and use your synonym. So here is what I've been talking about. So you'll want to click on the top search box, space, and type the word or, and you can easily type in by hand the synonyms that we came up with, or you can just go ahead and click this one. The only one I think we're missing is social, no, it's caseworkers. But this is good for now, and we're going to do the same thing for all three of these search boxes. We're going to go with what it gives us just for the ease of use here. I'm going to go with treatment or therapy or program or strategy just because that's quite a few. And then you'll just re-click the search button. Now we have 358 results. So that is quite a lot. And you might think, wow, that is way too many for me to go through one by one. Even though when you're at this stage, you're only going to be wanting to look at, of course, the title, and then this area here, which is the abstract, which explains what the article is about. And sometimes you can just tell by the title that it's probably not going to be something that is going to be useful for you, or it could be intriguing from the get-go. So then if that is the case, you'll want to click on there. But first, I want to let you know what you can do to whittle this down and perhaps look at all 358 articles, but just not all at the same time so it doesn't feel overwhelming. So I'm going to go through the limiters off to the left here with you first. So you scroll down, you'll see that you have a plethora of limiters to be able to limit your search from the search of articles. So I'll start at the bottom. So you could do population, and you'll get things like human, female, male, or inpatient. This could be pretty easy because only women have babies, so you could click on female if you wanted to. Tests and measures are different scales and different ways that they measure the outcome of the research. Probably not as helpful for this, this type of research so far. Methodology is pretty simple, straightforward. Maybe you've been told by your instructor that you need to find complete your empirical study, only quantitative studies, or only qualitative studies, longitudinal studies, things like that, which these are all things you'll be learning. But at some point you will probably have to do that, but I'm not sure you have to do that specifically for this assignment for this course, but it's handy to know. Classification, I usually don't use this one, but just so you know what it is, um, the different kind of classifications that the different articles kind of fall into, and you can always click on show more to, if it's health and mental services, community and social services, things like that. Let's see, we'll skip that one, we'll go to geography. So most of the time, you'll want to do United States, or you see sometimes there's individual states like California, Florida, Maryland, but then you see there's other countries like Ghana, and I'm just a lot of times there's stuff from Canada, all over. So depending on where the study has been done, but if you want to keep it, say, in the United States, you could click on these two. Gender, again, is very similar to population, except for it doesn't give you inpatient, outpatient, or human. It gives you male or female, so you could click on female. Age, this is another one really pertinent to this question that we're using. We're only studying teen pregnancy, so you could click on adolescent 13 to 17 years, adolescent 13 to 18 years, or even do young adult, even though it goes into the 20s, but it does hit some of the teenage years. Language is always helpful. Unless you can read Spanish, German, or Chinese, you could click English, and this just means the language that the article has been written in. Um, Company, publisher, not as important. Publication could be important at some point in your academic career when you're doing library research. You might be tasked with finding articles that are specifically in social work journals, and this can be an easy way to tell. So, Journal of Family Social Work is obviously a social work journal, but then other ones like Journal of Adolescent Health, that could be a nursing and allied health, that could be a social work, that could be a bunch of different actual subjects. So, that's when you'll need to kind of investigate that journal specifically, go out on the web and take a look to see if that is a social work journal or not. But it can be helpful because it breaks it down for you in this manner. Last but not least, I'm going to skip the thesaurus term and the subject and go straight to subject major heading. This is my go-to specifically, and that's why I decided to do this one last when I'm demoing the limiters. So if you have this 358 or more, or even a little less than that, but still an overwhelming number, your best bet is to use subject major heading. So if you click on that, you'll see that there's a bunch of essentially keywords or subjects, key subject terms. And the easiest way to look at all of them is to click Show More, and you'll see all of them. And then you'll see this hit count. So, adolescent pregnancy, which is one of our synonyms that we have going in there. The system sees 52 hit counts of the term, so 52 articles with the term adolescent pregnancy. There's 38 that have pregnancy and adolescent. Then there's 20 that have adolescent mothers. So you could go through these terms, and I would pick one, two, maybe three at most, and click on those. And let's pick adolescent pregnancy. Let's pick intervention, because that was one of our main keywords. And let's pick something like social, well, let's pick social work. So there's three right there. If you click update, it will only show you, so now you have 63, which is a much more manageable number. It's still large, but not really that large because you can skim through all 63 of these pretty quickly, just scanning through the titles and briefly reading the abstracts. But these are only showing you 63 articles that have all three of those hit counts in them. So you can look through here, maybe find a couple. Then you can go back and click off of these three that you've put on here. And then you can go back into subject major heading. And you can click on one, two, or three more and keep doing that for a few times. And you should be able to get through a majority of your 358 articles, but in small groupings. Hopefully this makes sense. But if it doesn't, please always reach out to me for help or go back through this video to try to get a handle on it. So, what do you do when you have found something that you want? So let's say this number one is something that you think would be great for your topic if this was your topic. So let's click on the title, and then it's going to take you to our records page. So it's going to have our subject terms, it's going to have some tools over here to the side, but also what's important, it does have PDF full text, which means we do have this article in its full PDF format for you to click on, and then you can either download it here or you can print it here. Also, you can do things like save it to a folder. You can click that little folder button and it looks like there's a piece of paper in the folder, and it also looks like there's a piece of paper up here. What I recommend doing is just that. Every time you find one that you'd like to save and keep for possibility using in your assignment, is to click it and put it in the folder. And then when you are all finished, when you think you've collected enough articles to be able to assess and find ones for your assignment, which rule of thumb, if you have to have as a minimum 10, you need to find 20 articles initially. If you need 12, you need to find 24. If you need to find 5, you need to find 10. So always double the amount that what is your like minimum required for your assignment, because you don't want to find just 5 or just 10 when that's how many you need, because more often than not you're going to get done, you're going to say, oh, I found 5 articles, that was really easy, I'm going to look over these, make some notes, and I'm going to start writing my assignment using my resources. And then you realize maybe only 1 or 2 of those articles were actually good for your paper, and then you're going to have to go back in and recreate the search that you just did. So I would just find double the amount, and then you shouldn't have any problem weeding out the ones that are good and weeding out the ones that are bad. So when you think you have all the ones that you want, you can click on this folder button on the blue line, and it will take you to their folder contents. Now, there's only one article in here now, but after you were done, you would see a bunch of citations listed. So all you would need to do is click on Select All and then hit Email, and you could type in your email and your subject, say research course, assignment, or however you'd like to. And then you can just send it to yourself. So the entire folder goes in one email instead of individual emails. Because you can do it individually if you so choose. And if that's easier for you to keep organized, by all means, you just click this little email button here and do the same thing. Type your email, subject, and if you're going to do it this way, I usually put like Article 1, Article 2, Article 3, and then hit the send button. The last thing that I want to make you aware of before I move on is show you the cite button. So you can cite, or you can use this as a reference, but don't ever, ever, ever take this and copy it and paste it into your references for a plethora of reasons. One, you're not learning APA if you do so, especially if you have not learned it already. Two, most of the time these citations are actually incorrect. I mean, they give you the basics, but a lot of the more important details are overlooked. And three, it doesn't usually copy and paste very well into a word processing program. So I'm not sure if you guys can tell right off the bat, but this one is actually wrong in two places, and you'll see this a lot. The first one is the title of the article is in all caps, which APA calls for sentence case, which means the first letter of the first word and the first letter of the first word after the colon are capitalized and everything else is in lowercase. So this one is wrong. And then also, you no longer have to put retrieve from in the 7th edition, but in the 6th edition you did, but you wanted the URL to the journal's homepage, not to the database where you found it, which seems counterintuitive, but that's the APA rules. So you don't ever put, even in the 7th edition, you do not put the database link in there because it's always something long and full of gobbledygook like this. So this would be wrong. So if you copied and paste this into your assignment and then just didn't think twice about it, more oftentimes than not, you're going to get marked off because it's very obvious that it's not fully correct citation. So let's go back and let me show you. There could be one scenario where it doesn't say full text, and right here on the bottom, there, the second one down, is it says linked full text. So this, you won't have a PDF to it, but it will. We do have it. Well, we're supposed to have it. We're supposed to have it, and it's supposed to be linked out to the web, but it looks like we might not for that one. Let's try another one. We see linked full text. Let's linked full text. Let's click here. So here's the actual article. It is linked out just to the internet, and so you click on this PDF and you could download the PDF from here, and you can save it, you can print it, you can email it to yourself that way, no problem. So it's very similar to the other way. And I'll have to investigate that other one. The only other one that you might see, and we'll keep scrolling here, is if we don't have either. So if you see this checked for full text, more often than not, you're going to have to request this article from Interlibrary Loan. But do not despair, because that is not a reason to not use something just because you have to request it. So let's click on it, and then we'll click on check for full text, and I'll show you what the screen looks like. So this is what will come up. So it looks like we actually do have this. Oh, no, it doesn't. So item in place, 0 requests. So we don't have this. So borrow this article from another library. Now, if you're going to use Interlibrary Loan for electronic resources, you're in luck, because sometimes, especially if you're working on the middle of the day and our interlibrary loan specialists are working away down in the basement of the library, they are able to process your request very, very quickly. I've had students in my office, or I've done afternoon face-to-face teaching, and we have requested a mock article from Interlibrary Loan, and I've gotten it within an hour. So I always say 24 hours or less, but sometimes you can get it very, very quickly. Now, if you request the article in the middle of the night, you're not going to get it till sometime the next day. So make sure you have at least given yourself a couple of days before your assignment is due, before you request something, and hopefully you're giving yourself more than that in an ideal world. So you really like this article, the abstract speaks to you, and this is something you really want to use, so you need to borrow it. So you click on this link, and this will take you to our interlibrary loan interface page. And so what you need to do is type in your net ID and password, mine's already pre-populated, and log into our ILL. And if you have not ever requested a book or an electronic article from our interlibrary loan department, the first page you will see will not be this page. It will be a quick page that will ask you some of your pertinent information, just some quick information, and that only that one time, your very first time you log in, will you have to fill that page out. The rest of the time, it will be like this, and since I've obviously used interlibrary loan many, many times, you will get this page. And what is great about requesting an item through the databases is you don't have to fill this out on your own. Most of the time, you have to fill this in. If you go straight to our ILL page from the library homepage, you have to fill in all the information about an article. But this one is awesome because it's already pre-populated. All you have to do is hit submit request. And then you'll see this where it says transaction type. So this is awaiting copyright clearance, and it'll find it from another library. And then within 24 hours or less, you will have it in this PDF format in your email inbox. So please utilize interlibrary loan as much as you need to. It is a great way for us to be able to keep our collections here at UTA Libraries large and robust. So we can go back to our results list, and hopefully you guys have gotten a pretty good overview of how to utilize these databases, how to use your keywords, your synonyms, how to understand these limiters and the little tools, and how to use interlibrary loan. And if you have any questions, again, please feel free to reach out to me. So I want to go back to our library guide that I started with this on. And after you've maybe found all your sources and you're out there and you're wanting to go through your sources, make notes, figure out how you're going to use them in your assignment, you're always going to be wanting to think of how do you use your sources in the writing process. I'm not going to play this tutorial, but I encourage you to look at it on your own. That's on this guide. A lot of times students, they find their sources and they're not sure how to fit them into their assignment, how they work them in. So this is all about finding your resources, analyzing them thoroughly, note taking, deciding if they are good resources or not. Another way to do that is going to over here to this side and go evaluating sources, and you can use a little test, and it's called the CRAP test, but that's just an acronym for currency, relevancy, authority, accuracy, and purpose. It's a way to evaluate a lot of your articles. So if you click here, I have it in PDF format, so it's a worksheet. So you can sit here and think critically about everything that if you've read through the article, and think about it using these pretty important steps. And you can even fill out this worksheet if you want, and then decide if it is a good resource for you. I also have this avoiding plagiarism, which I won't play for you, but I do also encourage you to watch. It does have a bit about please don't cheat, but I keep this in a lot of my guides because a lot of students accidentally plagiarize, meaning that they do not use paraphrasing and quotations and citing the citing process correctly, and so it's totally accidental. And this can be really, really helpful in helping to not do that. And then just for your guys' information, I have here a structure of a research paper in APA format and different types of sources and their meaning. What are popular, scholarly, peer-reviewed? What's the difference between an article, a journal, and a database? And then down here at the bottom, I have some really great links back to the School of Social Work's writing resources that was previously done by the writing resource coordinator, Dr. Kilgore, who is no longer with UTA and the School of Social Work because he moved away, but he left us all of his great resources. So if you click on the top one, it'll take you to the Writing Resources Guide. Some of you may or may not be familiar with this. So we have a lot of webinars that we recorded, and you'll hear my voice and see me present a lot of these. So I recommend checking these out through Canvas. If you go to the Writing Guide for Social Work, this is a large document that Dr. Kilgore created, and it's very thorough, all about writing for the different assignments in social work. So the research assignment will be in here, so I recommend that. And then this is all the common assignments in social work, and it's broken down by genres. And so I would definitely take a look at that. Obviously, for this course in particular, it's research-oriented writing, and you can get a list of all of the assignments for all your classes broken down by genre. So practice-oriented writing, advocacy-oriented writing, which is policy, and then research. So the book review, the research proposal, which is your big thing for this course. There's also the single system research design. There's a bunch of them. So if you click on each of these, it will be an in-depth look at what the assignment is, and who is the audience that you're writing for, what kind of argument that you're making. It even talks about the literature review, and then you can click on here and it'll take you specifically about writing literature review, so it's a little more in depth with that. And you can always need a little help with literature reviews. Even I sometimes need a little bit of a refresher when I'm writing a literature review. So this can be really, really useful and important. So I encourage you to take a look at that. And then last but not least, let's talk quickly about APA citation style. So this is the last page of the guide and it has additional resources on it. You'll see this additional resources tab on a majority of my guides for social work students, and it can be really useful. So this whole site is going to be APA. So I've just updated this little, I call it a cheat sheet, but it's really just a bunch of examples of how to do APA citation style. I just updated it to the 7th edition. So these are all correct examples. So if you have a journal article, I would just follow along and kind of plug in your your information from your articles into this format, and it's really easy to follow along. I also have this great tutorial, which I usually would play, and I would probably play in a face-to-face class. I won't play it here, but I encourage you to take a look at it. It is based off the 6th edition, but it's pretty easy to figure out what is different and what is, and it's only things, slight things, but this still gives you the basics of how to create step by step an APA citation using your research. And it's only about 4.5 minutes long, so I really, really encourage that. Um, Also, a much larger and longer presentation is by Dr. Kilgore, and it really dives in depth about the different style things that you'll see through for APA for social work and different little nuances that are particularly important in the writing process using APA. And so it's about 90 minutes long, so you can watch it. But I also have these slides up there for you. So you click on this, it will take you, and you'll have to log in, but it will take you to that screen where you can watch it. So I would do that. Also, if you're not familiar with the Purdue OWL Writing Lab, and they have just updated all of their stuff to APA 7th edition, so you'll be able to tell what some of the differences are. And then over here, to the right, you'll see that I have a YouTube channel, and these are all tutorials that I've done previously. Now, these are older, and they're done with the former website before we updated it just this semester in spring of 2020. But the principles are all still the same. I'll probably be replacing it with this video and others. But for now, you can still check these out. This first one is one I did several semesters ago for an online class, and it is from beginning to end, just like this video. And then these other smaller videos are if you can't remember just a small step in the searching process, utilizing the databases, like say, like finding different databases, using keywords, some of the other different databases, using the limiters. These are broken down in about 5-minute sections, so you don't have to weed your way through a long video. So when you're not watching this video or another video and you're out there on your own and you're using this guide and you're like, man, I just cannot remember how to choose multiple databases inside of Academic Search Complete, you could click on this first one, and it's a quick 5-minute video about how to do that. So, and then of course here is how to find me and where I live at the Central Library. So I look forward to hearing from you guys if you need help with this assignment or any other assignment in any of your classes. Now, really quickly, I do want to show you guys the crash course in lit reviews before I sign off of this video. So back to the library homepage, hover over research again, go down to more guides. We are going to want to click on by owner and scroll down to my name. And here's my picture. Sometimes it'll pop up, sometimes it won't. And it's the very first guide, a crash course in lit reviews for social work. And I used to be able to do a workshop with Dr. Kilgore, and we did it one for this, and there's a recording of it up now, but we don't do any live sessions, unfortunately. I'm not quite able to do it now that he's not here with us anymore. I may pick that up again. But you'll see what is a literature review, general lit review guidance page, And this takes you back to the School of Social Work, like I showed you before. Different types of literature reviews. This one here will also take you back to the School of Social Work. So these are all really great links. You'll see that writing literature review tutorial again, just like in the other guide. And again, developing a research question. Again, searching techniques. So this is a lot of repetitory stuff, but repetitive is good when you're learning. Finding sources. This is all very similar to what you saw on the research guide. This is a little bit less than what is on the research guide, just how to evaluate sources and types of sources. And then here again, the updated stuff of APA, but it doesn't have the tutorials in there because I'm going to try to update those. But the best page probably is this first page where it takes you directly to all these helpful links if you're really stuck about how to put your literature review together and how to get it written up. So, if you guys have any questions about this, about your assignment, about lit reviews, about library research in general, please feel free to reach out to me and I would be happy to help. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful semester and I look forward to meeting each and every one of you. Bye bye.